Hi friends, welcome. In today's session, I will explain how to make use of replace function in SQL and how to update a column value using replace function. So as you can see, I have written a short definition of replace function. It is used to search and replace all occurrences of a specified string value with a new string value, and also it is a case insensitive. So first, let's understand. It will accept a string. Within a string value, it will look for a substring and then it will replace it with a new string. So what I mean by case insensitive. So let me show you an example. Let's say apple apple is there, and in small letters apple apple is there. So in case insensitive, it will treat both of these words in a similar manner. Hope this is clear. So let's quickly move to the replace function, and the syntax for replace is string and then old string and then new string. So for string, this is an input value which we are passing, and then for old string, this is the string which we are passing in this input string. That is why I have mentioned the string to be replaced. Within this input string, we are searching for this substring. We are searching for a part of a string, and then in that part we are going to replace with a new value. Okay, let's quickly move to the examples to understand how this replace function will work. Let's start with example 1. So I will say select. So if we are having a value 4 5 6 7 8 9, so this is the input value, and in this input value I wanted to replace hyphen with full stop. Okay, I forgot replace here. Replace. So when I execute this, see guys, it is actually replacing these hyphens with dot, with full stop. Okay, so if I had to explain this query again, so this is the input string which we are passing, and within this input string we are searching for hyphen and then replacing it with full stop. Let's quickly move to the example 2 to understand one more example. Let's say I will say select replace ABC space ABC. Then within this string, input string, I wanted to search for A and wanted to replace it with B. So if I execute this, you can see it actually searches A string within this input value which we are passing, and then uh, it has replaced this A with B. So with my definition, you might have already understood it will replaces all occurrences of a specified string with a new value. So since we are searching this small a within this input value and then we are replacing with b. So wherever we have this small a within this input string, it's gonna replace with small b. Hope this is clear, guys. So let's quickly move to the next example. In the next example, I'm gonna say I wanted to replace, let's say suppose I wanted to replace the spaces. Okay, so this is, I wanted to replace space. So this is our input string. Within this I am having the spaces, Krish space, the space, dev. So I wanted to replace spaces with blank. So if I execute this query, see guys, it is removing the spaces and giving the blanks, it is actually replacing the blank values in place of the spaces. Okay, let's quickly move to the next example. So in this example, I wanted to declare a value. So first understand how to declare this string value, and I'm gonna call this varchar 25, and I'm gonna set this string value with let's say, suppose I wanted to call MS-SQL server, and now I wanted to write a formula to replace this input string. In this input string, I wanted to replace MS. Let's say, suppose I have given this MS in a smaller case. I'm using this lowercase values here. So instead of higher case, I'm using this lowercase values. Let's see if SQL make use of this replace function in order to replace this MS with I would call Microsoft here. Okay. So when I execute this query, see guys, even though I have specified MS in a lowercase, SQL automatically identifies using this replace function, and it has replaced MS with this new string, which is a Microsoft, and it is giving us Microsoft space SQL space server. Right now, in example 5, I wanted to create a new table, and I wanted to see, in live situations, how these developers are going to make use of this replace in order to update the values in a column value. Okay, is to update column value. Okay, in order to save some time, I've already wrote this query in order to create a simple table. I think this, I already have this table. Let me drop and yeah, I already have this table. Let me drop this. Yeah, commands completed successfully, and I'm gonna create this table, and I would like to insert these values inside it. And if I select star from uh, vendors, so it's gonna bring up all the data within this vendors table. Okay, so we are having ID column, name, phone number, and email address. So what if I wanted to replace this +91 with +81 in this first record? So it is always recommended to write select statements before using update queries while you are updating the column values. Select, I would call this phone, comma, replace, and I would want to replace this phone uh, wherever I have this +91 with let's say, suppose I wanted to replace it with 81 from vendors table where ID equals 1. Okay, when I execute this query, you can see here guys clearly. So it is actually replacing this +91 with +81. So it is clear that it works absolutely well. So now I'm gonna say update vendors, and I wanted to set this phone number equals to this replace function. I'm gonna copy it from here and place it here, and I would say where id equals to 1. So what if I omit or ignore this where clause within this update? It will if I ignore this where clause, it will look for +91 within all the records in this column, and it gonna replace +91 with +81. That is the reason why it is always recommended to use the select query before updating any column values in the table. Okay, so let me execute it, and when I run this select query, now we can see earlier it used to be +91, now it is +81. All right, now I wanted to replace this .org with .com for all these records within this email. So as I said earlier, I'm gonna say, let's say for suppose I wanted to call all the columns, and now I wanted to replace this email, and wherever I have this .org, I wanted to replace them with a new string from which table? Vendors. Okay, execute. Now you can see a new column has been inserted where this .org are getting replaced with this .com. So it is clear this replace function is replacing the values correctly. Now I would say same, select vendors. Since we wanted to set the values for the email, I'm gonna call email equals to this whole replace function. I'm gonna copy and place it here. Sorry. So this time, since I wanted to replace all the records within this email column within this vendors table, I'm going to ignore this where clause in the update. Now it gonna search all the records within this email column. Wherever we are having .org, it gonna replace .com. So when I execute this query, 3 records affected. When we execute this select query, you can see this email column earlier it used to be .org, and they have been replaced with new value which is .com. All right, now let me explain you the reason behind recommending you to always make use of select query before updating it. So if I say replace, let me replace .com with .org just to explain it to you. So if I run this query, see guys, actually it is replacing .com with .org, but if I copy this query and paste it here, instead of email column, I'm keeping this email column in a string. So what if I keep this email column in a string? It is going to treat this as a string instead of input column. It gonna treat SQL gonna treat this as string, and it gonna replace the entire column with the email. Instead of org, it gonna replace with email. See guys, so what if I say replace with this input string? See, 3 rows affected. So if I execute this select query in order to fetch the all columns, so it has replaced with email. Instead of replacing .org with .com, it has replaced with email. So that is the reason why I would always suggest, before updating a column value using the replace function, it is always recommended to make use of select query before using the update query. All right, that's all about this video guys. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this video.